Good morning. I have some quite important news really. The laws are changing very quickly in relation to associations in Morocco, as indeed a lot of the laws in relation to banking and other matters are changing. And the government is really stepping in to wipe out corruption. In relation to associations themselves, I believe that the changes in the law did have a linkage with what had happened with MAA down in Tagazout and the areas surrounding Oria near to Agadir, where clearly the two founders were deported, and it was stated that the association was dissolved and the bank account was closed and the money was used to pay off some debts. I've already told you that. And I started a GoFundMe because we were prepared and ready to take all the equines. And I think there were about 40, so it would have been a huge influx of equines here for which we needed extra building. And I'm so grateful to those people who have contributed, and I hope they will continue to contribute, and I will do an update on that very soon. We are taking animals from Agadir. For example, we took a donkey the other week, a few days ago. We're possibly taking 4 males down from that area as well. A horse and a foal is coming up. But the difficulty we have had is accessing the animals currently held on land that MAA were paying rent for. And people find that quite extraordinary because MAA no longer exists, or so it is said, and I haven't been able to have the support from the authorities that I was promised. And we're still in that situation. I have issues before the court in Agadir. So does a colleague who cares for dogs, has done exactly the same. And what we are now discovering is that there was so much corruption in the area, which I already told you about. We went down there to make arrangements to pick up all the animals, and all the officials had disappeared. How strange is that? Of course, we work very closely with the Director of Associations in Rabat. We have contacts in Rabat. And what is very significant is I was acting very much on hearsay from the local officials, but under investigation, when the courts start to investigate, we have no documentation in relation to MAA. So the natural conclusion is that it was never registered properly in the first place. So if we're going to court and saying it has been dissolved, we have to show that it was actually properly formed, and that is ongoing. So it hasn't gone away. I just wanted to update you. Of course, when you make progress in this regard, there is always a disadvantage to yourself as well, because we have a legitimate association here and we have just re-registered for this year, and that involved having a meeting up here at the refuge with an official present, and then all our documents have to be taken, 9 copies, down to the commune to be legalised. They then go to the Qaid, they then go to the governor. Eventually we get a new number for next year. But they are so much stricter on the wording that goes into the registration of those documents. So it's been quite hard work for all of us. And more importantly, I want to say something about the bank. I was quite angry, and you know I get angry quite quickly, because we lost our bank card, probably dropped amongst the hay, never to be seen again. Our bank card for our charity bank here in Marrakesh. And we went along and they gave me a new bank card, but they wouldn't authorize it till all the, everything had to be clarified and legalized. And of course I was a bit annoyed, you know, because we used the bank card to get the money for the wages and the hay and everything else out every week. I could still use the bank accounts. I could go in and draw money out in cash, but I couldn't have the bank card yet. And I want to apologise to the bank because after being very annoyed, I think they are doing absolutely the right thing. We took along with our papers to be legalised in the local commune the piece of paper that we have from all the members of the association authorising 2 signatories to act on behalf of the association with the bank. And all those signatories included Charles, and Charles yesterday went back to England for more treatment. And they said down at the commune that with that particular paper, we had to have all the trustees present with their carte nationale so that they could be legalised with them actually present. And I thought, gosh, that's an awful lot of effort to go to. But they were explaining to Ayub, there has been so much defrauding over associations. Because if you think about it, if an association sort of ceases to function, someone gets hold of the paperwork, they can fill the paperwork out, they can put the names of the members there, and they can go and get it legalised, and they could be drawing money out of a bank account that is still holding money for an old association, but it's a fraud, and that has to be stopped. So I really do understand why they're doing it. So we have to wait perhaps 2 or maybe 3 weeks for Charles to come back so we can have that document legalised again and go to the bank. And in the meantime, we can transfer money in our bank account. We can go and draw money out. And again, I thought that was strange. I can draw money out, but I can't have a bank card. But think about it. The Moroccans really are being quite sensible. Because if I'm drawing the money out, they see me when I go to get it. And if I'm transferring money, there's a record of where all the money goes to. If I'm drawing money out in an ATM, anyone could be doing it. So on one level, it does make sense. We have the guarantee that we send all our accounts up every month to the government. So all the figures should balance out and that they should be okay. So yes, progress is really being made. And some of you may have read in the papers, particularly in Morocco, that there is another scandal sort of breaking out in the Agadir region because a professor at the university was for many years getting quite rich because he was authorising master's degrees and the like to be stamped, and people were paying for it. They were not actually completing the course and being examined properly. I think he's currently in prison and there are further investigations going on, particularly in relation to the judges, because a lot of judges were given authority finally to be judges because they paid for it. And those judges now, I think, are all under examination. So that shows the moves that Morocco is making. And in a country like Morocco, it can be quite slow because there is a lot of paperwork and people don't always understand that. But I'm very sorry, I apologise to French friends, but we inherited a lot of that from the French, where the administration is still quite considerable, not so much as online as it is in the UK. All I can do is continue to thank all of you who support us. We try to be honest with you. I'm going to do a post on my social media afterwards. For example, we had to bring a horse up from Agadir quite a while ago. It had 2 breaks in its leg, and I was amazed that the men seemed to deal with that and heal it, although it was always slightly deformed, but the horse lived quite a happy life. That leg has gone again, and we made the very hard decision this morning that it was time for her to leave us. And she's now down in the Georgia cemetery at the bottom of the land. And another sort of brief update, because a lot of you have helped me in the past. You will know that when we built our our land, we built a road, it's our road, and then a retired judge from Casablanca, who considers he's quite grand, I think, came and bought land opposite and claimed that this was a public road, and we had it went to the courts, he took it to the courts, and there were two major decisions with absolute experts that no, it was our road, it was not a public road. And we were really very pleased with the outcome of that, because we want that road. We run horses and donkeys along it as well. We can't do that if it's a public road. So it's quite important to us. And we did that with the help of many of you. It's been going on now for perhaps 3 years. We have heard that he's gone again to the Court of Appeal. He's making another challenge. And we have a very good avocat here who is acting for us. And he's told us not to worry because he knows Charles is away and the land is in Charles's name. He's dealing with it. And he's also putting a counterclaim in for damages, financial costs that have been caused to us by the actions of this retired judge. And of course, if he's successful, those damages will go back into the refuge. So anyone who 3 years ago might have contributed to us to help to run the legal case, it has paid off. That the horses now have their run along the land, and eventually I hope that we get the damages back. So that's just by way of an update. You know, we have to comply. We have to comply with the law here. People come in and they think the country's magical, it's wonderful. When you come and live here, it can be quite complicated. But we have survived and we exist because we try very hard to do the right thing. And you know my motto, do the right thing every day. Tomorrow will look after itself. Bye for now.